I'm Giles Sirett, I'm the CEO and founder of ShapeBlue. I founded ShapeBlue at the end of 2011 and I've been CEO ever since. My main responsibility is making sure that ShapeBlue evolves and grows as a company. We're now 100% employee owned, so I don't own the company. I'm the CEO, I run the company, but I run it on behalf of all of the employees. So I see my responsibility as making sure we've got growth, we've got stability, and the way we do that is through the quality of the work we do for our customers, is through evolving the core technology we work with Apache CloudStack, taking it into new spaces, making sure it's super scalable, it's super reliable, and I see really that as my job. Often I do describe, a traditional organisation you think of as a pyramid with me sitting on top. I'm the CEO. I tend to think about ShapeBlue the other way round. I'm sat at the bottom supporting the other people in the organisation who are doing the work that really creates the value, which is maintaining Apache CloudStack, solving problems for our customers, building new functionality for our customers. We live and breathe open source here, but actually when we started ShapeBlue, CloudStack, the product that we're now synonymous with, wasn't open source. It was, at the time, it was owned by Citrix before it became Apache CloudStack. And initially as a company, we were technology agnostic, but we ended up getting drawn more and more to CloudStack because it was so reliable and so deployable. And back in that sort of era, 2012, other technologies like OpenStack, for example, were just taking years to deploy. CloudStack was relatively simple. So, one day we looked at the sort of project board and went, everything we're working on is Apache CloudStack, and we started to focus more and more on CloudStack as a technology. And at the same time, it became an Apache project, it became open source, and it was the perfect timing for us because we saw the value that open source brought to, particularly to service providers, in terms of not being tied to a vendor's roadmap and not having all of the risks that the vendor might change strategy. Yep, we did evolve a lot because, as I say, we started as a sort of system integrator working with proprietary technology, and we suddenly found ourselves working with an open source technology. The vendors that were involved with CloudStack at the time started having some challenges around supporting and developing functionality inside CloudStack. And first thing we did is say, well, okay, we can do this, right? We're working in this open source community, we can support this technology. So we moved from being an integrator to somebody who could support an open source technology. Part of that journey was we needed to have, obviously, engineering support in place. And over the years, we've developed our engineering function, so now we are the biggest code contributor to Apache CloudStack. And that's not just maintaining and supporting it, that's developing new functionality in terms of its roadmap, in terms of things we do for our customers as well. So we've evolved a lot, and our service offerings have sort of broadened, but actually the technology we work with has got more and more focused and narrow. We just now work with Apache CloudStack. The open source project is sort of in our DNA. It's in our company values. Everything we do. So for example, if we're building a feature, even if it's for a customer, the first thing we're doing is putting a proposal out in the community to build that. We have never built functionality for a customer. It's almost mandatory with our customers, we contribute that feature back. We want to support the project, and that's at the core. And then our team, all of our technical team, have a percentage of their working week allocated for them to just work in the open source project. And that's not just things that we have to do as a company for our customers or for our objectives. That's for them just to be good citizens in the community and help other developers in the community, to help promote the community. We do a lot of marketing activity and helping the project that way. People at ShapeBlue are sort of instrumental in organising the annual conferences. So, we, I think, have a responsibility as a company. CloudStack has been very good to us as a technology, and it's allowed us to be the business we are, that we put as much back into CloudStack as possible. And I think it is important to say is obviously we're a commercial organisation, but CloudStack is open source, and there are lots of people who run open source without ShapeBlue services and without any services. And we love to see that happen. We love meeting new users, even if we're never going to have a commercial relationship with them, and collaborate with them in the community. And we think that's just a great, healthy thing for the project. So we've got all sorts of different customers. By definition, they tend to be larger organizations because CloudStack is this technology that tends to have more value when it's run at scale, although we do have some small customers. But really our customers, I suppose we put them into two categories. We put them into service provider and non-service provider, or what a lot of people would call enterprise. The service provider use case is people who are doing IaaS services, Amazon EC2-like services. They're service providers, they're selling those publicly to their customers. The non-service provider customers, traditional enterprise customers, and we have examples of, Fortune 5 companies who are customers of ours. We have very large international software firms, we have financial organizations. There really is no common denominator in terms of their market, so in terms of their verticals, but what they nearly all are organizations who want to automate and therefore need a platform like CloudStack to sit as a foundation of that automation, or they want to remove vendor lock-in, and we've got a lot obviously going on in the hypervisor space at the moment, and CloudStack is a very serious contender in terms of orchestrating a non-VMware based infrastructure. So we don't see a common pattern in terms of market of our customers. We just see organizations who want to automate and want the reliability and the scalability that CloudStack brings for that. So I think the key benefit is that we put a comfort blanket around Apache CloudStack. It is an open source technology, and one of the lovely things about CloudStack is there is no vendor distribution. You don't have to go and buy somebody's distribution to run CloudStack. Everybody running it globally, including some very large serious organizations, are running an Apache release released by the community. But some organizations want some help with the deployment. They want some services to help them do that, to help plan, to help scale, and that's where ShapeBlue comes in. So we take the role that a vendor would do in that respect. We don't sell software, but we'll come in and guide the deployment. We'll design an environment. We'll advise around the storage, around the compute, etc., and make sure they bring some best practice to that environment, because we've done this literally hundreds of times for organizations. Once that environment is deployed, we tend to partner with our customers through our support service, our CloudStack infrastructure support service, and that quite simply is providing 24/7 vendor style support around an open source technology. So the customer is still running open source Apache 2 licensed software, which we think is a massive advantage to our customers in terms of zero lock-in, but they have the peace of mind that if they have a problem, we've got an SLA-backed service. Within an hour, 24/7 by 365, we will have our engineering team working on resolving any problems they have. And then for some customers, as their use of CloudStack continues, they might want to make some changes to CloudStack. They might want certain integration points that don't currently exist. And it's an option for those customers to come to us, and our engineering team can design and implement and contribute into the open source projects the features that they want. The core value for me we have here at ShapeBlue is empowerment and responsibility, and that runs through everything we do. Because we work in an open source project, we have to empower our people to make decisions in that project because they're committers in the project. And in an Apache project, the company has no control over what they do in that project. So very early with ShapeBlue, I realized that the management structure, the organizational structure was going to have to be very different, and our company values were set around that. So we empower people to make day-to-day decisions, or sometimes some very big decisions, but we expect responsibility from them when they're making those decisions. Simple example, don't worry too much about, how you write your piece of code you're doing at the moment, but we expect you to take the responsibility to make sure you thought it through properly and it's going to work the correct way. Our company values have developed as things we thought were right for the organisation and the type of customers we work with and the fact we work in a community. But I suppose, yes, to a certain extent, they reflect my personal values. We have honesty and fairness as another one of our values. We have creating value through our work as another one of our company values. I believe everybody in any job anywhere should create value through their work. So I suppose arguably they could reflect some of my personal values. Yeah, so we became employee owned in 2022, it's nearly 2 years ago from now. And actually a number of years ago, I started to think about what is the next stage for ShapeBlue. And actually, for a tech organisation of our size, there's normally two options, right? You IPO or you get acquired, right? I'm plus 50 years old. At some stage, one of those events is likely to happen in a company that was predominantly, not wholly, but predominantly owned by its founder. And I didn't think either of those things were fit. I mean, over the years, we had a lot of interest through acquisition because of the nature of what we do. And I used to, first question I would ask anybody who approached us is, how would you protect our mission around Apache CloudStack? How would you make sure that we continue to make the contributions that were essential for our customers, not just for our customers, for a whole lot of other people around the world, thousands of people around the world who are using Apache CloudStack. And I never was really satisfied by that. So we're not unique. There are other companies with a similar business model to us, but I started to look at other options. I read a book by a very successful founder in the UK, retail, a company called Richer Sounds, read his book, and he had taken his organisation into an employee ownership model. And that model allowed the business to keep those core values. There were no new owners, there was no public ownership to worry about. Keep those core values to allow the owner to exit. I'm not exiting at this stage, I'm not as old as he was, but allow that next step to be taken with the business. And the power, arguably the wealth in the business goes to the people who really deserve it. It's the people in that pyramid I was talking about. That's how I came to the idea of employee ownership. As a place to work as an employee, I go back to one of our core values, or a number of our core values: empowerment, responsibility, openness, honesty. But I think that empowerment thing is key. We expect our people to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, make decisions themselves, be autonomous if they need to be. And people find that empowering. And through that empowerment, we get a highly motivated set of people. As a provider as a commercial organisation to our customers, it's the people here that make us stand out from other organisations. I mean, for example, our service desk, which is a 24/7/365 enterprise grade service desk, we don't have tiered support here where you're hitting first line who are just reading knowledge base, and then second line somebody slightly more informed, eventually third line. You're hitting our engineering team and our architecture team immediately. We run support as an overlay over the top of those two teams. And that means the level of service we give to our customers is, I think, probably the best for a support-based organisation, certainly if I've ever been involved in. For that reason, we've never lost a customer in a competitive situation through attrition or anything like that. Customers are very, very loyal to us. And that in turn creates this cycle of it being a good place to work because the customers value the work we do for them, they're very appreciative. So we end up with this place where it's a great place to work, you're really empowered. We have a very flat structure. For example, I speak to everybody in the company once a month, has a one-to-one with me, and I think that's essential. And in those one-to-ones, I don't beat them up about their timekeeping or delivery of something. I ask them how they are. Ask them how their families are, and we have a chat. And I just want to understand how they are as a person and how it's going for them. So I think we're a little bit different from a lot of other organisations. I always, for about 10 years, used to say I don't have any free time because I'm CEO of a company and I've got 2 young children, but my children, one of them's now left home and the other one is about to leave home. So I like to sail. I have a share in a boat and I go sailing. I like to travel. And I also am very, very interested still in the technology space we're in. So I spend a lot of time reading about the technology and related technologies as well.